RL stage and all that. Everyone's going to be watching. Lucas has just been like on fire lately. I feel like that guy is just on track to win a world championship. He's training with the best. He's friends with the best. He's always in that mix. He got 3rd place last year. You know, he started the month off strong, getting 4th place last month. So I just feel like Lucas is in his groove and to start the weekend, to start the day of competition, whereas Lucas has felt this pressure many times before.
True. Yeah, I really like everything you just said. We're hopping to our first game of our upper round 1. Interesting. Lucas coming out with the Dagger Duchess. Usually in competitive Clash Royale, we see mostly Princess Tower. Even in some decks that usually use Cannoneer, a lot of the time it's Princess Tower all the way, just for a little bit more consistency. But Dagger Duchess, I'm not sure. It's probably going to be some sort of aggressive type of deck. A lot of the time, Dagger Duchess excels in a situation where you can apply lots of pressure, and then the counter pushing units from your opponent kind of gets cleaned up easily. So yeah, we do see a giant deck from Lucas. XAlee with a Tombstone to Zap. That makes him play Lava. Probably going to be a Lava here with a Spirit Empress. Very interesting.
I mean, I definitely would not have guessed that we were going to see Spirit Empress on game 1 of day 1, and I would have also not guessed that we were going to see this deck out of Lucas on game 1 of day 1. I thought we were going to see more of this style of deck last month with Goblin Giant, but instead, here we are. It's actually, you know, doing okay, and both of these players starting off with very interesting decks, in my opinion.
Interesting. So Inferno Dragon. I actually have played Lucas's deck before. It's pretty fun. It's pretty cheese. On the other hand, XAlee with Evo Valkyrie with a Tombstone. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be really hard for XAlee to win this game, especially since Lucas is the air card with the Inferno Dragon. But it's one of those cards that can really kind of clean up entire like airbase push.
And that's already it right there. You can see XAlee knows it's over. He looks pretty frustrated. I was going to say, I just feel like when you look at XAlee's deck, there's not a lot of DPS, right? There's just not a lot of damage coming out. I mean, you have a weird kind of combination of spell power between the Zap, the Goblin Curse, and then if you have the Evo Valkyrie out, you get like that little kind of quarter NATO, so you have like 3 things that can do some splash. But just kind of a rough draw matchup-wise and a rough start play-wise. We'll see if he can bounce back here. 45 seconds remaining, going up against Lava Hound. I will say, at least traditionally, usually the Dagger Duchess is not great against Lava Hound, but I really don't know if that matters at this point.
Yeah, maybe the Spirit Empress and Evo Val can make something happen here, but the God Curse is down. Evo Zap does drop to stop the Inferno Drag, but the Spirit Empress is still taking quite a bit of damage. It does survive. This is a counter push. Evo, Inferno Dragon cycle. Goblin Curse from XAlee now, trying to spawn in something, but a Goblin Curse from Lucas plus a Zap turns all the Lava Pups into Goblins. Though great defense, solid counter push. Great deck pick from Lucas, maybe not so much from XAlee, but hindsight is 2020. Either way, GG's. Lucas taking game number 1 of the best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, a really interesting deck there from XAlee in game 1. I mean, when I look at it,
it's basically necessary for beatdown to play Goblin Curse, I would say. Like, you really don't see much beatdown in the meta without Goblin Curse. In fact, the only really solid beatdown deck in the meta would be the Pega God Giant Goblin Curse, and then we have seen a little bit of this giant deck. I like it in Lava Hound too, but it just didn't get the right matchup in that first game. But we're into the second one. Anything can happen. Once again, guys, I always got to point out for any new viewers for Clash Royale League, these games, these best of 3s are played in duels formatting. That means that any cards played in the first game or any of the games cannot be repeated for the best of 3. So Lucas with the minor, probably going to be like either a minor poison or a minor rocket. XAlee with some sort of abridgment.
Yeah, I like this. I feel like, you know, Lucas has to be feeling real confident after game number 1. We all know he's good playing with fast, quick cycle, you know, micro interaction decks. He understands the macro of the matchup pretty quickly, and XAlee does have a much more aggressive deck now, as you guys can already see. No spells shown, just going, you know, Golden Knight, Evo Lumberjack, Evo Ram. Starts the game with the Evo Ram, so pretty interesting. Also, Mother Witch has been showing up a decent amount more because there has been so much bait, and also because of like all the border decks with all the swarm in them, how much we're seeing Skeleton King now. So interesting to see how much more Mother Witch will start to work her way into the meta.
Yeah, true. So, a Bridge Fam Mother Witch, where we have the Evos. We have Evo Baram, Evo Lumberjack. Very strange deck. This deck seems extremely expensive. Yeah, I mean, the cheapest card we've seen so far is the Ghost at 3, and then a P.E.K.K.A as well. This is really interesting. I feel like Lucas is just gonna have advantage just because of that. With this sort of like quick cycle miner deck, especially with the Knight, Evo Cannon, I think it's gonna be pretty solid for him to control everything. If there's anything that's gonna be a problem, it's gonna be the Mother Witch, like we said. The Mother Witch is actually a big problem for this deck, as well as the Baby Dragon actually. So, and with the arrows, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not as easy as I once thought it was, like, after seeing the arrows especially, because, I don't know, if Ali can really put, like, a big push together, it's going to be really hard to stop the Baby Dragon, because Lucas doesn't have enough air defense.
Yeah, I was just going to say, when you kind of look at all this deck come together, there it is, Mother Witch up high. He sequences a really great push all across the board where you only have 2 ground tanks. They need to be, you know, that miner's going to be less available to get damage on tower, and it's going to be spending a lot more time being into that second defensive tank. Going to have to see a lot of double cannon cycles, so Lucas definitely has his work cut out for him here. And yeah, as you said, Juice, just a really heavy deck, and just like in game number 1, we're looking at 3.9 average in game 1, and even more here in game 2.
Yeah, really interesting. I feel like Lucas need to maybe get a little bit more damage in Sync Elixir and take advantage of the fact that Ali's deck is really expensive. I think Ali did a good job of defending and doing well to make sure it didn't happen. So now that we're in double and 40 seconds away from triple, these pushes are going to be crazy to stop. Here comes the Evil Babram with the Gold Knight dash, log to stop, Ice Spirit. Cannon gets down. This is a solid defense, and I like the Skellies up high to make sure the Gold Knight isn't dashing towards anything. Log on the Mother Witch. This is solid stuff, but can he keep this up? That is the question. I mean, the Ghost is getting chip damage. He's lost the damage lead. In triple elixirs in 15 seconds, it's gonna get even more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, we could see, I guess, maybe a rocket in that last spot, but as you're seeing right now, Lucas is really having to work hard to get any damages, as you just called out, Juicy. Already lost the damage lead, and, you know, he has to get miners on towers for that spell. Oh, no. Evo Lumberjack, okay, does get picked up just in time, but that P.E.K.K.A is right there with the Gold Knight. Baby Dragon at the bridge. This is starting to become a little overwhelming for Lucas.
Yeah, and Ali's catching every single miner as well. He's really struggling to get any damage through. Knight, Spear Gods, P.E.K.K.A in the back. Ali wants to make one more big push to keep applying pressure. I think this is Lucas' time to try to get some damage on the tower. Miner does connect for one of the first times in a while, but the Mother Witch is played down. This is going to be tough to defend. Lucas, it's all on him to defend this right here, right now.
Late Golden Knight dash is going to be a big thing. Needs to hit it now. No go. Knight goes up high with that low cannon. Maybe Lucas trying to bait it out. Second cannon comes down. P.E.K.K.A very healthy. As you called out, Juicy, earlier, those Baby Dragons are a nuisance in the middle. Lucas just needs to hold on and get that. I'm assuming it's a rocket out, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do it.
He's very low elixir, playing all these cheap cards. Miner connects, but the last second,
got him.
The Ghost, the Lumberjack, everything connects, and that is going to be a solid win for Ali just by a few hundred HP, taking us all the way to game number 3 for the first best of 3 of Clash Royale League monthly finals. I mean, very heavy decks. Looking at the spells used, we have Zap, Curse, and Arrows from Ali, and then we have Zap, Curse, Rage, Log, Rocket from Lucas. So yeah, it makes sense that Ali's going to a quick cycle deck here with the Log, the Rage, everything being used here. It'll be interesting to see what Lucas has brought to deal with the spam, since he doesn't have any of those spells available. We do see a Gold Knight and a Tornado so far. That's a pretty solid start. I love the King activation as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Skeleton Barrel being used so much right now. NATO obviously not as popular as it used to be, but still the ability to activate King against that barrel is really something that you're going to have to utilize if you are still a NATO player, just because there are so many people, including myself, playing Skeleton Barrel right now.
Yeah, Skelly Barrel's pretty strong. I think it's really fun to play too.
Yeah.
He's very, very strong.
I've always loved the card. Now it's actually just like a real force to be reckoned with.
Okay, so a Goblin Hut Probably minor poison, I would assume. Since there's no mortar here, I think it has to have another win condition other than skeleton barrel. And then Lucas, I like what he's done here. Without the log, the rage, the curse, he has the lecture wizard, he has the barbarian barrel, he has the gold knight. He has basically all the splash damage cards to try to mitigate the fact that he doesn't have one of the strongest spells in the game.
Lucas has always done a really good job with his NATO Golden Knight combos as well, so I'm excited to see if he can pull some of those off, something that I've missed for quite some time in CRL. It's just, you know, NATO getting the nerf, Golden Knight not really being popular until recently. That lineup, though, we've seen a lot of devastating connections in our day.
Yeah, I kind of miss it too. It's crazy how bad Tornado is compared to what it used to be, but
I know.
It was strong for a long time, so I understand. Anyways, enough of me being depressed about Tornado. Looking at the gameplay here,
he was a Splash Yard E-Giant player, so that was basically just violence. The Clash Royale chose violence twice against you.
Yeah. So speaking of violence here, we have a Mega Knight jumping to the tower with the Golden Knight in tow as well. Tornado doesn't take out Spear Gobs anymore, but the Mega Knight actually splashes onto the Spear Gobs, preventing the Golden Knight from getting the tower. So Mega Knight's kind of playing for a little bit for the other team here. I feel like that was close to game over if that didn't happen. But this is still a lot of damage for Lucas. He's continuing to apply lots of pressure. He's got the Evo Drill. He's got the Magic Archer. Really good pressure here from Lucas, trying to connect on the tower to finish this one out.
And just so much splash to deal with, the barrels, the NATOs to deal with, and pull all these units together. They don't die by the NATO anymore, but at least will be able to be taken out by the Magic Archer or the E-Wiz, and there you go. It just felt like that game was so firmly in Lucas's hand for so long. The matchup really tough, and just those lineups, all of it just played so well.
Being able to see your opponent's decks, what they're comfortable with to play at this high level, is definitely an advantage.
Yeah, and also I think the other part of that conversation are the decks that haven't worked yet today.
Right.
So we'll see if there is any more minor control. But here we go. Lucas, top of your screen, going up against Gençaslan at the bottom of your screen. The player from Turkey obviously has a massive fan base. Had a World Finals appearance a few years ago. Didn't go the way that he wanted it. Obviously, there was parts of that with, as you guys can see on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, representing Turkey on the map by qualifying for the 2022 CRL World Finals. And a little quiet over the last couple of years, but here he is. He's back, and he's running Mortar, so I'm happy with him at the moment.
So Mortar and Lucas using another double or triple small spell bridge spam that we've kind of become accustomed to at this point in the tournament. I kind of like Gençaslan's matchup here. We've only really seen bridge spam really excel versus these kind of minor bait control decks, but I think this Mortar deck is going to do a great job in this matchup, mainly because he does have the guards variation too.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Those guards are going to be a nuisance, whether it's taking care of the boss bandit, obviously, but going to be a great response to the cannon cart and even that battle ram. And then you talk about having, log to help reset the stun of the battle, or reset the charge of the battle ram. Just a lot more options here for Gençaslan. So we'll see how this plays out as we are just about 50 seconds remaining here in regulation. Evo Mortar going to come down. Knight plus Cannon Cart here. Going to run into a Cannon Cart plus Boss Bandit.
Boss Bandit is going to dash to the Cannon Cart. Barbarian Barrel coming through. Guards do not pick up. The Evo Mortar stays alive enough to take out the Cannon Cart. Here comes Evo Battle Ram. These log timings from Aslan have been perfect.
Yeah.
Not only is it knocking back the Battle Ram, timing the charge, but he's timing it perfectly as the Battle Ram is dying to also hit the Barbarians. The defense is great. The offense is even greater as he continues to chip away at the left-hand side tower.
So it goes for some bats. They don't get a lot, but then the guards take out that Cannon Cart as this Royal Ghost sneaks down the lane. Gençaslan's probably just going to have to eat that damage. Don't love to have to eat 2 Royal Ghost hits, but Lucas, as you can see, a lot happier than Gens about that interaction.
Battle and bridge. Mortar drops down. Wait a second. Okay. I was scared.
I know. I saw it too. Yeah.
I was scared for a second. The Battle Ram, after that one pathing update, loves to bypass buildings when played on the edge of the map like that. But the Mortar does pull, and Aslan continues to have phenomenal defense with the perfect log timing once again. Hitting the barbs.
I love that you pointed that out.
The battle ram, and then all those goblins from the bat's curse. That was nice.
Yeah, Gençaslan just really clean right now. Love to see it after taking a bit of a hiatus. As we got just 80 seconds remaining here. 1883 is Lucas's lowest tower. Gençaslan at 24-14. And now he's doing, honestly, what he should be doing, which is I have a good damage lead, I have a big spell, and I have a great tanky building. I'm going to hold on for 60 seconds. But when you're going up against one of the best in the world in Lucas, it does just leave a little bit of, when you're only defending, there's always an opportunity for a mistake. And we almost saw it right there from the Boss Bandit.
Yeah, Boss Bandit almost breaking through. Aslan with a last-second miner to stop that dash, and then the second dash too. Wait, Log is in cycle. It's most of the goblins. Evil Battle is scary. Another Battle in cycle. Another curse fireball dropping on defense, but he misses the barbs. He missed the Evil barbs. Evil
Lucas knows he's got it.
Oh my goodness. The defense is
1689.
It's successful, but he continues to apply pressure. Lucas continuing to stack on the board as many units as possible. A curse, a zap. Mortar does not pull the Battle.
Wow.
I think it's over, Andrew. Wait, the defense. It's there. But there's only 15 seconds. He needs to go miner.
And the miner gets caught. The miner gets caught. Lucas puts together a beautiful 30-plus seconds of relentless offense after Aslan is in complete control for most of that game. Wow is right. Just unbelievable pressure from the Brazilian.
Oh my gosh. On time, then he had the perfect boss man ability, taking out the miner, forcing out more elixir, and then he started pressuring the right side as he continued to be up elixir and use that momentum to force more and more mistakes from Aslan.
Big shout out to all of our fans in Turkey. It's been a while since we've seen Gençaslan or one of the other Turkey players in the mix, and I always remember seeing the chat and all the support. So happy to see all you guys here. Happy to see you supporting your countrymen as we see a nice King Tower activation here to start. Lucas recognizing I've got Cannoneer. Those goblins are going to get damage on my tower. How do I make the most out of this? Well, let's get a King Tower activation in to start as we see a Goblin Demolisher for the first time today.
Yeah, Goblin Demolisher is such an interesting card. It seems like it's exclusively used in Goblin Drill deck, as it is kind of mixed between a Bomber and a Wall Breakers, which are both good in Goblin Drill decks. Wow, not hitting the tower there. Cannoneer really clutching up. Here comes the drill from Lucas' side of the map. Looks like it's going to be, I don't know, maybe some sort of balloon freeze or I mean, I can't really imagine it being anything other than a balloon freeze deck.
Yeah, you see the Ice Whiz. I mean, the Spirit Empress is always interesting because we're still getting used to seeing her around, and MK comes down.
I like the goblins here behind the Mega Knight to try to defense down while the Valkyrie's tanking. Spirit Empress, it's going to probably clean up this counter push really well, but it won't get any damage on tower. But I think that Lucas is fairly happy with this situation because he's going to help get the Evo Mega Knight in cycle, and he does clean up the counter push.
Lumberjack cycled in the back here, gonna meet that drill well, and Lucas decides to go up high with that Ice Whiz, just not to soak up any additional chip damage.
Yeah, I like the Valkyrie there too, just continuing to cycle there. He doesn't have Evo Valkyrie in his deck, which is interesting, but yeah, it's still doing a great job as a tank to clean up. Oh my gosh. Wait, this freeze play is so smart. He freezes, keeps the Tesla underground so the balloon can go to the tower. But a nice Evo Snowball. Going to kind of make this defense a lot easier than I might have originally thought.
A great little game of chess there between these two guys. Do love that freeze. Not something you see super often just because, honestly, balloon freeze is not played as much as it used to, but that's just something for you balloon freeze players to recognize. That does work on those underground units. The Spirit Empress is actually going to be getting a good amount of value in this matchup. It's just something I was thinking about. You know, not really any way to get on top of her other than the Tesla.
That's true. Yeah, I think it's obviously Aslan is up about 1,000 HP right now. Continues to chip away with a few snowballs, a few arrows here and there. But I think the more time, I'm very similar to last match actually. The more time that Aslan continues to focus solely on defense, the more time Lucas is going to be able to stack up big air base pushes with the Spear Empress and the balloons, or as you said, Tesla and Snowball is the only air defense targeting cards. It might be enough. It might be enough to defend, but there is a big chance that we see a big Evo Mega Knight balloon freeze, do lane pressure push to make something happen here.
I know, I was just thinking the same thing about, we're 83 seconds remaining here in the game, obviously about to get into triple elixir. Gençaslan has taken almost no damage. He's still ahead by 1,000 HP, but for some reason, it still feels like Lucas could steal this game. Like, it feels like he still has the confidence that he is going to steal this game, but maybe this defense is just going to hold through for the next minute.
Mega Knight the bridge, drill forced on defense, Mega Knight jumps on top. Spear Empress at the bridge in ground form. Lumberjack is
next on the left-hand side.
Oh, wow, I didn't even see that. Big damage. I guess Lucas is going all out for this offense. He goes for the Tornado Freeze combo, but the Goblin Demolisher. It exposed everything. You see Lucas shaking his head, almost unbelieving that he didn't get any damage with that push.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, complete sellout, takes a bunch of damage from the left-hand side. Now he's trying to set up that exact push that you're talking about. Evo MK, balloon behind, trying to get a Spirit Empress in there as well. But we're going to see Gençaslan, as you like to call it, setting up Sim City here. There's the Teslas. There's the freeze, though. We'll see if this balloon on the right-hand side can make something happen with that Evo Lumberjack.
The biggest problem is that there's an Evo Tesla and an Evo Snowball in cycle. So... once again, that is the thing about Evos. It seemed like every time Lucas had a good chance to make something happen, the Evo Snowballs are in cycle, not only pushing the balloon super far back, but giving a lot of time for Aslan to recoup some of the elixir that he continued to be forced to use on defense. He did a great job of always...
right underneath attacking units has always been one of my favorite things about that. I do think it is still one of the more interesting cards that has been introduced in the game in a while. So here we go. Game number 3 against Aslan. Bottom of your screen, Lucas here at the top. Both of them still going to be in the competition no matter what happens here, but one of them will be sent to the lower bracket, and one of them will be sent to the next round of the upper bracket. And believe it or not, we are 2 hours into our broadcast, and it's the first time we are seeing a Hog Rider.
I know. I was going to say that too. I'm glad to see him. I mean, I love Hog Rider gameplay, especially the high level. It seems like maybe it's not being used. Wait, we have a double Hog Rider mirror.
Okay.
This is exciting stuff. So we have a Hog Rider mirror, except Gençaslan seems like he has a little bit of a quicker cycle, but Lucas has a Tesla, which is, I would say, slightly better as a kind of anti-earthquake card. So, and a Monk versus Mighty Miner. Wow, this is going to be fascinating. I'm not even sure who I'd give the advantage. Maybe it's got to be Lucas, since he actually has the log. I didn't realize Aslan didn't have log.
Yeah, the log is going to help a lot. Wizard. Okay.
Huh. Lightning.
Wow. Okay, so these guys definitely keeping us guessing up here in the figurative booth. Hopefully this E-Spirit can get a King Tower activation for Lucas at some point, because that will help just a little bit with those hogs, but obviously one of those things that you don't want to give away if you're against Aslan, but Lucas still gets it. Beautifully played.
Wow. I mean, you spoke that into existence right there. A really nice placement of the Ice Spirit right in between the Tesla and the King Tower, allowing the E-Spirit to connect, getting the King activation. And yeah, it's a great call. I mean, a lot of the time, it's easy to get King activation versus Hog because they use Firecracker. But Aslan with the Wizard here, I think that was one of the only opportunities Lucas had to get that connection with the E-Spirit, and that's going to be providing a lot of defensive value this way.
Let's go, Firecracker out just on command.
Oh, this is a push.
Yeah, did the Ice Spirit die to the shield coming off the Evo Wizard? That was so weird.
Yeah, I must have. And the Hog Rider does connect as well. Decent defense for Lucas, but I think the Monk is definitely strong in a situation like that. Mainly when Lightning comes down, Barbaro kind of missed. Hog gets another connection. Okay, very even match. Both players kind of struggling to defend each other, actually.
Monk down perfectly in time here. Ability needs to come off, take care of that Evo Firecracker, but damage already done.
Wow. And the fire doesn't even get deflected. The Monk did get a rework recently, making it so it takes more damage while in ability state, but giving it slightly more overall HP. And the Monk actually goes down before it can get the deflection. So that rework kind of showing the difference in the Monk here. Very close match still, but I think that XAlee kind of lost his opportunity to attack, giving Lucas not one but another opportunity to go for a hog rider soon. Interesting.
Wizard over the middle here, gonna do a little bit of work on both lanes. As the hog gets cycled from the back here by Lucas.
Okay, Evo Skelly's kind of getting a lot of value. Firecracker dropping down. I like the Barbell taking on the Tesla. Hog rider's a bit of a threat. He does have the log. But the bomb tower's still on the board, and Lucas without Earthquake can't like take it out very easily. Lightning does a good job of breaking through instantly, but with the Skellies here, I don't know if this is going to work.
I know, and it's also so interesting because now Gençaslan knows that Lightning has to come down every single time, which means now the Wizard can come down just a little bit out of range and always be safe on the board.
Ooh, that's a great call. Hog Rider trying to break through. Evo Tesla, a nice little get out of jail free card here. Mighty Miner is on the board, but so is the Monk. So both players with 3-card cycle active. And it seems like Aslan kind of continuing to apply pressure. Lightning cycle for Lucas doesn't feel like the right play.
I know. I don't know why it made me feel uncomfortable when it happened.
Yeah. Wait, Firecracker?
Right now?
Oh my gosh. Firecracker.
Lightning comes in again.
That Firecracker damage might be what he needs to win this game.
Oh, Monk, and he misses that Firecracker.
Oh my gosh, and you see him shake his head. 14 seconds left.
And you see whoever is in the peanut gallery shake their head with the goblin shaking head emote, knowing that in a mirror match you can only make so many mistakes. Wow. And I gotta say, at the end there, Lucas really cleaned everything up, and Aslan started to make a lot more mistakes. And it makes sense, right? Because the one thing that we didn't talk about that I was going to keep bringing up is, you know, Lucas is one of the best hog players in the entire day, and actually like analyze it in real time, and it was very apparent in that one moment. That Firecracker, I think in the past probably would not have stayed alive as long as it did. I think that Monk would have had a little bit more, I think the Monk would have taken care of it.
And Sub, this is one that for many years I think that we would have easily said Lucas has the advantage here, but
and there we go. It's already changing. It definitely feels like Lucas should be the favorite, but I really think it's like 55-45, and probably even closer than that. These two players, nothing to scoff at. And the thing is, they're
like Royal Hogs, Queen, Earthquake, and then some Lava Hounds. So curious to see if we get a similar fast cycle versus medium heavy situation today out of Lucas and Sub.
Yeah, Lucas is one of those players where if you don't have your coach in your ear and you don't have the ability to workshop decks with them, make sure that you're countering everything, he's just one of the scariest players in the world. He is so smart, so talented, and he's just played so many games that it feels like he's always ready to do one thing different than every other player. He's not going to go crazy off meta, but he will choose one different card that's going to flip a matchup that it shouldn't flip. And that's definitely one of the specialties of Lucas. And Lucas running E-Giant. This is pretty interesting.
This is kind of the opposite, I was thinking, right? We have Sub going fast cycle with the Hog and Lucas turning heavy. So both guys, especially Lucas, trying to subvert expectations. And speaking of expectations, everybody, on the left-hand side of your screen, rewards, watch them and unlock special stuff. We're about halfway to our first reward drop of the day. So make sure you stick around to catch that one. And we'll have those throughout this Championship Sunday for the CALALAS Cup here in CRL.
Sub trying to figure out his next move. Going to cycle the Firecracker in the back. Lucas, he should have the Evo Cage in cycle. So when we take a look at the matchup, the E-Giant probably should have the NATO as well. This is interesting. Okay, is it NATO Lightning? Is that what we're thinking coming in from Lucas right here?
Only time will tell as we get into our double elixir, and Brawler might get one, and does. 27-15 on the right-hand side. Lucas narrowing the gap as he has the 2-lane damage hog into the left-hand side, cage to cover. And that should with the King Tower's help. Yeah, it wasn't a perfect placement on the cage, but activated King Tower cleans up the damage.
And right there, Sub doing a beautiful job of protecting his firecracker. The Hog will not make it to the Crown Tower because it is going to activate the King with the NATO coming in from Lucas. But I mean, Sub's defense on that firecracker, and then it's still plugging and chugging away. That was absolute perfection from him, and a well-deserved shot on top of the tower.
And that's now the most significant damage of the round, 25-52 plus an own chip on the Golden Knight. Barb Barrel to target the firecracker. Hog goes left-hand lane for Sub as he plays defense on the right-hand side. Page Evo to pick up and handle the Hog Rider. And the NATO pulls everything into the E-Giant, but not going to be enough to create a breakthrough. And Josh, now NATO out of cycle, no cage. Hog going to get some big-time shots here. What does Lucas need to do to actually break through here and create some real damage on tower?
Yeah, the cannons coming in from Sub, it just feels like he's not really finding it difficult. A lot of the times, even when you see these easy wins, they're still making all sorts of plays. Sub, he's just kind of doing the same thing, and that's all that needs to happen. Lucas, I believe he just needs to kind of wait for triple elixir or wait for a mistake. And right there, the E-Giant making it to tower, getting it down to 21-19, almost evening it up. But now no NATO in cycle. This could be a pretty big push coming in right here.
EQ gonna help with that cage. Hog gonna get 2 shots here down to 10:45. So just as Lucas sees some light at the end of the tunnel, the rocks start to fall from the walls with triple elixir against Q cycle.
Yeah, Lucas just really struggling, trying to figure out how in the world he can just do anything. And so far, not coming to any sort of conclusion. We're going to see a NATO in, but these firecrackers are still just staying alive. This is way too easy for them.
Evo Inferno in the back. Page trying to hold. EQ getting the Hog through. 2:31 remaining, and now Lucas is trying to find some way to sell out at the bridge. Golden Knight gets some connections. 11 seconds left. No way to break through. EQ will just make sure the gap is enough. Log to clear, and Sub going to take game number 1 as the script is flipped from last year's World Finals. Sub going fast cycle. Lucas.
We saw the guards get used in the drill deck from our previous set, but you can just swap it from gobs like we saw in Sandbox. So yeah, Sub 1-0 and just has everything available to him. And there we go. We might see the Drill Goblins variation that Sandbox used. We will be seeing this shortly.
Berserker comes out to get the cleanup. First little chip damage in both directions. 27-32 to 29-98. Goblinstein out here for Lucas.
Fire Spirit getting the jump on top of the tower and the Doctor. And right here, Goblin Demolisher not able to make it all the way. Sub using a classic drill. Lucas having some fun with it and using the Goblinstein drill. I don't really see this deck all that often. I've seen a few of them with the Goblin Hut, so I wouldn't be shocked if we see that. We'll still have to wait on the last 2 cards.
Things slowing down a bit after the opening salvos, although now Lucas maybe heard me and decided to go full send. You're going to get a little bit out of that one as some of the Goblins get on tower, and a little bit turns into a lot. Lucas opens up the lead by over 500.
Goblin Hut on defense, going to be able to take out the Demolisher and chip away at the Knight. Still going to need 1 or 2 more cards coming in from Lucas. And the Bomber, will it be enough? It's going to take it out, but the Knight is going to be able to get 1 shot.
Goblinstein out one more time for Lucas. And that, Josh, kind of just felt like I would like you to play some cards, please.
Yeah, just trying to get a cycle right, trying to get the Evos in. And right here, I mean, the Berserker, as great a card as it is. Oh, and right there, very nice interaction. The Evo
Wow.
Snowball with the Evo Bomber. Gorgeous gameplay from Lucas.
What a connection. What an absolute connection, right? For a moment there, I was looking at the Evo Snowball at the bridge and going, why is he sending all the troops right back to his drill? And Lucas just showing off some of the brilliance and thought process and turning that into a massive connection, and suddenly this game is completely turned upside down.
Yeah, that was absolutely the play of the day so far. I've never, I mean, I've seen that interaction, I'm sure, somewhere, but to be able to pull it off at the live stage, at the big stage, that was incredible.
Snowball in, and now with sudden death, only 409 on the right-hand side. The formula is written. Lucas just has to defend and slowly chip away here and not make any major mistakes.
Right there, quite a bit of chip damage coming in from that drill. The drill for Lucas, not going to be able to put in that much work, but still has an absolutely massive advantage. And Evo Bomber should be close to getting in the cycle. Might not matter getting it down to 24 HP. Yep.
And GG, Evo Snowball getting its flowers on this one at game 5, right? Things really changed there, but that's kind of why I said best of 3 in particular. Seems
yeah.
Seems like it's less valuable there. Either way, that's the pass. Let's move on to the future. Game number 3. Loser will drop down into the elimination bracket. And Lucas coming out with some quick cycle.
Sub going to be running what's probably going to be the Mortar Bar Barrel. Oh, okay. So, yeah, Sub going to be running the Ice Wizard Skeleton King Mortar deck. And then Lucas on the other side could be RG, but RG with Tesla seems kind of odd. Still kind of just waiting to see what his final couple cards are.
Mortar not going to connect. Well distracted. And Sub trying to keep pressure on. And he'll get 2 spears for his effort, plus more pressure coming in. And Hog for distraction.
So Hog Wizard instead of Hog Firecracker. I mean, Lucas had the opportunity to run the Firecracker, run the Cannon, run the Log. Instead electing to go with the Evo Wizard. Pretty interesting decision coming in from Lucas.
You know, when you think about this Evo Wizard, though, you have the ability to contend with a Skeleton Barrel. There is lots of splashy stuff, or lots of swarmy stuff on the board. And then now we get some protection with the Monk right in front. Evo Wizard creating a problem here.
Yeah, this is an absolute massive push coming in from Lucas, the Monk, doing a beautiful job of protection and getting the tower down to 680. Sub, I mean, the thing is, Lucas still has the Hog EQ going against a Mortar deck that doesn't really cycle all that well. This is Lucas just in a beautiful spot right now.
Mortar up high, pressure now moving on the side of Sub, trying to play the catch-up game, getting some damage in. 1773 on the right-hand tower. Cannoneer just taking its time, and these Hogs have been getting kind of some at-will shots.
Yeah, and that is one of the strongest pushes I've ever seen for being as clunky as it was. The Wizard plus the Skeletons, put the Skeletons in front, so that way the Cannoneers locked onto the wrong thing. Monk again getting a beautiful, just a beautiful situation for it. Lucas putting on a clinic, no mistakes right now.
Earthquake cycles to the left-hand lane. This is kind of the last chance for Sub. Not facing elimination yet, but of course you want to play from the upper bracket as long as you can. Sub now with the Log out, Earthquake to cover, but that's going to be some good damage. Skeleton King still going. 1591 Mortar at the bridge. Will it get a connection? Yes, it will. Lucas has to be careful, not make any major errors here. Evo Tesla to cover. And that should be enough to get things done. Log will go ahead behind, and Sub knows he gave himself a shot at the end, but not quite enough. Lucas going to continue on in our upper bracket.
His plays, there's so many things to dissect and recognize. Oh my goodness, this is why he did it. I just blown away from the level that Lucas showed in Game 2 and Game 3.
They're the two champions, the two times. They don't come head-to-head the same way that Lucas and Mohamed have. And more importantly, what Lucas has done to beat Mohamed Light in monthly finals is a big standout to me as well.
Games to figure out what decks I like best. Lucas ended up losing with some sort of Loon Mega Knight, Spirit Empress, which is one of the Spirit Empress decks that has been used. I don't want to see that from him. I just want to see quick cycle from both of these players. Let's see as many troops get played on the field and who can just win those tiny little interactions. This is it. This is Lucas for Mo.
And our first time seeing Lucas play Lumberjack on the day, and King Tower activation will be pretty easy for Mohamed. It is one of the interesting things about the change in Lumberjack. I mean, I guess overall, but that's been when the Rage got changed and doing damage, and how that turned Lumberjack into a King Tower activator.
Yeah. And right there, a little smile coming in for Mohamed Light when he saw the healer. Not many players willing to use that card. Mohamed Light going to go with a somewhat balanced RG deck. Lucas, on the other hand, it looks like it could be Golem. It still could be E-Golem. There's a few different variations of this deck. I'm thinking it might be Golem, which would be absolutely insane.
Electro Dragon is so fun. The battle healer, obviously something we don't see very often anymore, and pumping RG at the bridge immediately.
Skeleton Dragons only going to lock on to 2 of the Goblins, so this tower is going to be almost taken out completely. With the help of the Lumberjack, it's going to stay just alive, but tower down to 460, but that's okay if you're Lucas. You could have lost the entire tower. As long as you protect that pump, as long as you're making sure that you're going to be able to gain that elixir that you need, Lucas should be placing it down, and there we go, Golem. First Golem probably of the tournament, probably of the year.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting stuff to say the least. Evo Electro Dragon behind the Golem will clean all that up, and Mohamed gonna put a fireball on that, but now he's got a battle healer, a Golem, an Evo Lumberjack, an Evo Electro Dragon. That Monk's not going to do anything to reflect here, and the Evo does die on the Electro Dragon. Golem drops. Lumberjack trying to make more happen, and now Lucas just trying to pile on the bridge. He gives a shake of a head as that did not work out.
Yeah, I love the concept. I love the idea coming in from Lucas. One of the tiny little mistakes when he dropped the healer, it was outside of the range of the E-Drag, so the E-Drag ended up getting taken out pretty easily. And you just know that Mo is too smart. He's going to place a troop that's going to redirect how your other troops look.
4 cards, and yes, the other 4 are RG deck cards, but really it does feel like I love the gamble that Lucas took here, and I don't even think it worked out that poorly for him yet.
I would definitely have to agree. So as we head into game number 2, Mo Light going to be running the E-Wiz plus the Snowball. Lucas on the other side going to be running some variation of the Mortar. Without it being the Cannoneer, you have to kind of assume it's going to be like a Fireball version. Some of them run Skeleton King, but usually when it's Princess Tower, it's not the Skeleton King versions.
Lucas controlling the Magic Archer as it stayed alive for quite a long time. Snowball gets him clean up, but Lucas does get that initial chip on the right-hand lane. 25-66. Knight will go down. First minute away. Lucas might have wanted one Knight swing there. Either way, he comes out ahead both in damage and elixir.
Mortar coming in once again from Lucas. Question is he going to try and protect it or not? And we see one more shot from the Mortar. he's not really trying to get any offensive pressure with getting it on tower, but he wanted to keep it alive so that way the E-Wiz would be taken out. I like the idea, and now you have one little Spear Goblin that does force out a Golden Knight, just one little Spear Goblin doing its job.
Little Prince setting up, so champions on both sides here. Also, another note for the deck that Lucas ran in game number 1, no champion used. So you think about all those pieces, and I'm very curious. And I love, man, this feels like a bit of a throwback here, but getting a chance to see, I think it's our first giant skeleton of the day.
Yeah, and right here, Lucas should be able to clean that up very nicely with the Knight. As good as the giant skeleton, it feels like it just doesn't get as much value as it like tells you that it's going to get. When you place it down on the map, sometimes you can get the 5 elixir worth of value, the 6 elixir worth of value, but it's so hard to get positive trades, and I feel like it's still missing something. I've actually been running a lot of giant skeleton recently, trying to make it work, and it just feels like it doesn't work very often.
Fetch just isn't going to happen, Josh. Here we go. 20 seconds left. Giant skeleton holding up at the top. This mortar going to have to get picked up by the guards from Mohamed. And Evo drill in. And starting to chip away and open up the lead is Mohamed Light. 15-56. Lucas needs to find some way to create some damage. You can get creative and try to plan for those later rounds, but the number one thing, Josh, is you have to get there.
Yeah, and right there, Lucas, I mean, just struggling to get on top of the tower. Mohamed Light hasn't shown one of his cards, probably going to be the Tornado. And, I mean, these defensive snowballs always putting in work, but this is a pretty big push. One of the goblins on top of the tower striking away and again locking on, and again another shot. Lucas finally taking the lead, and Mohamed Light searching for answers.
I think Lucas wanted to get the King Tower activation there with the placement, but I think he needed a bit more to get that Magic Archer in space. But he does have the lead now after that connection on the left-hand side. And Lucas starting to try to put a little bit more offensive pressure here. Doesn't quite get the connection on the extra splash damage. Final minute, triple elixir. And Giant Skeleton sets up to the right-hand lane for Mohamed Light. Lucas goes in on the left.
Little Prince in the middle is going to try and take out the E-Wiz as best it can. And another Evo Mortar. It feels like when Lucas plays Mortar, he's got a 0.5 cycle evolution. I have no idea how he's able to get so many of these Mortars up on the board.
Drill in for Mohamed Light, bar barrel to pick up, 2 mortars on the board. NATO for Mo trying to make enough room for damage. Not quite enough to take the lead. Fireball down, perfectly timed. Gonna get a ton of skeleton damage, and Lucas ties things up in game number 2.
Beautiful offensive pressure the entire game from Lucas. Had multiple mortars up. So advantageous for Lucas right now. There's very few times where the series is even, whether it be 0-0, 1-1, whatever it is, and the other player looks like the favorite. Right now, Lucas is probably the favorite.
Ice Spirit for Lucas, Rage in response from Mohamed Light. So Lucas opting for some quick cycle, it seems. Mohamed going the opposite direction.
Delivery on top of everything gets a ton of value right there. And the Ghost fully taken out. Lucas taking a little bit of chip damage, but now is aware of Mohamed Light's deck. Sometimes those Mother Witches at the very beginning of the game can take 2,000 HP worth of damage because you're just not prepped for it, and now he absolutely is.
And Lucas able to very early, knowing not only no NATO, but no Fisherman. So you can really get some more creative minor placements early on in the game. And a second appearance for our newest member of the Clash Royale universe.
I have to say that was a very interesting push, and it still forced out a lot of elixir from Lucas, going in with a Mega Knight plus the Inferno Dragon, it cost him 11 elixir. He got his Evos in cycle, and it forced out 10 elixir worth of defensive response from Lucas. So I had no idea Mega Knight Inferno Dragon at the bridge was as strong as it was in forcing out responses.
And Ram Rider sets up on the left-hand lane. Easily handled into the Tesla. And just trying to get little bits of chip here is Lucas. Maybe not quite reading the situation correctly there. And this time Spirit Empress get it set up with the miner in front.
Delivery coming in on the right side. Wasn't sure if it was going to be placed on the left or the right. And this is where Mohamed Light is finally getting his first big push. Another Spirit Empress, and that's going to stop the Ram Rider before it can even get to the tower. Ice Spirit needs to come down. No Ice Spirit.
Oh, no.
Mohamed Light just takes the tower. Lucas, no response whatsoever. Frustrated is Lucas.
Yeah, Evo Electro Dragon coming in like the oven that you left on and completely scorching that right-hand tower. And I was looking at that going in game number 2. So Mo has kind of maybe evened up the card count, if you will, into the meta, into what's actually meta.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lucas, when you're using all those cards, I feel like that shouldn't be the way you go. I like using the log, the delivery, the Teslas with Hawk. I think that's by far the strongest one that utilizes those cards. This Minor Rocket deck, it is popular for a reason. It is relatively strong, but there are so many times you just auto-lose because of one tiny mistake, which we definitely saw in that last game. And I don't like using that in best of fives. I think you need stronger and just easier decks in your repertoire.
RG with a Monk Reflection. And let's see if it can get past the DPS with the Rage. Doesn't do it. Lucas maybe overspending here as he'll have to use these archers to try to clean up. Miner goes to the back. Berserker goes to the left. And there are problems all over the board for Lucas.
Yeah, and right there, I think Lucas is trying to activate the king, but I'm pretty sure that interaction, you need to put the... I was taught when I was trying to learn that interaction that you put the fisherman on the opposite side to bring it across. I don't know, just nothing going right for Lucas so far. Mohamed Light up 2-1 in the best of 5 and just dominating the game so far.
Lucas sets up Monk to the left-hand side. I don't know what the lore is behind the Berserker, but she does look like the Valkyrie's annoying younger cousin.
There it is, you found it. And right there, Mohamed Light just defending these with relative ease. The Berserker just getting the DPS in, helping the Ice Wizard out with its slow. And Lucas, when I look at the matchup and I'm trying to figure out what he needs to accomplish, what he needs to do, I don't know what I see. Mohamed Light's just so talented, and this is such a bad matchup. The Valk, Evo, Ice Spirit, Berserker, and Minor Poison, this is not what Lucas was looking forward to.
And you saw a big shake of the head from Lucas there a minute ago as he was kind of just feeling the pressure of how it's all starting to shake out right now. Gonna play the Fisherman high to pull, but that's just poison value. I think that's one of the other big problems here for Lucas that we're seeing, Josh, is now he's at a stage where he has to defend those miners. He has to give poison value consistently.
Yeah, right here, Lucas doing what he can. Gonna go in with the RG on the right side, but the problem is the Evo Ice Spirit, when that is in cycle, your push is gone. It doesn't matter what you have crossing the bridge. There's just no way it's gonna be able to make it through. This just feels like defeat. I don't see what Lucas can even possibly do.
And just chipping away. And you talk about some of the traits that make Mohamed Light the greatest to ever do it. Patience is certainly one of them, right? You see he knows he has plenty of room, can give up a couple of shots, doesn't need to either super defend, over defend any of these pushes, and doesn't need to put the pressure on offensively heavily either, right? He's not trying to go in really heavy, just happy to take the damage where he can, get a little bit of poison value, get a little bit of minor chip value, and here he gets a whole lot of extra out of that Ice Whiz plus the poison on the mark.
Yeah, and right here going in with the log as well. Fisherman not able to yank. That's going to be another poison down on top of the tower. Probably doesn't even need the log. Probably going to get the log in time. And there we go. Mo Light taking game number 4, 3-1 overall. And having some fun right now. I guess I'd be laughing and smiling too if I'm in Mo's shoes.
Was Mohamed. So we didn't get to the stressful game 5, but we do, Josh, have at least 2 more opportunities as we have our lower bracket final in a little bit between Lucas and Sub, as we'll give them a few minutes to prepare their deck.
Of opportunities. Unless you're Mohamed Light, if you are making it to the top 8, the top 4, the top 2, you take those risks, because that's the reason why you are just, if you want to set yourself up for success, risks are the way to go. So I wouldn't be shocked if we still see, some regular decks coming in from Sub. And I think it would probably make more sense that if it happens starting next month. Oh my goodness, this dash has just been incredible.
My word.
Yeah, but Lucas teaching everybody how to play Boss Bandit apparently. And let's head into game number 1.
And again, that QR code on the left-hand side of your screen still active to give you your rewards in game, so go ahead and get them. And Lucas starting to set up. Cannon will pick up the Battle Ram.
Very good wall breakers. The correct one going in front, so that way it forced out a response from Lucas. Couldn't allow just the tower to take out one of those. And Goblin Barrel coming in from Sub, forcing out the cannon cart in response. So Sub getting the right tower down just a little bit and still has his towers untouched.
So interesting here. This is, I think, the exact same deck that Sub ran in game number 1 against Vitor in his first ever CRL BO5. And looking piece by piece, and yeah, this is the same deck, same Evos. And I'm curious if Lucas and his team are going to recognize that. This was a situation where Vitor won game 1 in that matchup, also playing a bridge spam deck. It was with the Evo P.E.K.K.A. and no Boss Bandit. It was a Golden Knight in that deck, but kind of almost exactly the same notes as we had when Sub faced Vitor in this same situation last month.
So Lucas, not totally sure about the matchup percentage between these two decks. It's definitely got to be relatively close to even, but this Boss Bandit plus the Ghost, it's just so hard for Sub to have the proper responses, especially with how good Lucas is at activating these abilities. And that is another dash incoming. It is insane. It's like he can press his ability whenever he wants to, almost.
Battle Ram down. Its evolved form, cannon cart behind. Zap clears, Ghost clears. One touch. Barb's trying to connect. Cannon cart giving support here. King Tower activation almost happens. And now it's the Evo Barrel opposite direction for Sub.
Barb able to take out one of the wall breakers, so not the end of the world for him. And the Heal Spirit not going with the troops, instead of going to go on top of the tower. And it's still going to get a little bit of chip damage, so that can be important. Right there, kind of a big mistake. There's no way that that's the interaction that he was looking for, is it?
I can't imagine so. 90 seconds left, and now the pressure starting to build here as Lucas starts to go all in at the bridge. Evo Val looking to cover the Heal Spirit. Keeps things alive for a moment. And will this curse turn into success? And it does. Boss Bandit gets on tower, and Sub just backs up and goes, all right, you got me. And he finds himself in back-to-back months using this exact same deck and dropping game 1 to bridge spam.
He only makes it to these top 4, these top 6s month after month because he's willing to adapt, willing to get ready. So I expect something new from him.
Well, here we go. Hog Rider in game number 2 for for Sub. Now, what I'm curious about, and I'm keeping an eye on it, and no, it's not an exact match. He's varying up the Hog Rider deck because he did play Hog Rider in that deck set, but he played a Boss Bandit variation with the skeleton, or with the guards as opposed to skeletons. So, switching things up here as Lucas goes Lava Void. Not on my bingo card for this one.
Yeah, same here. And right now, the Mighty Miner getting a ton of value. Was able to stop the Electro Dragon for a minute, allowing the Tesla to put in work, and then also takes out a lot of the Valve. Question is, how does Sub want to defend this? Could go in with another Mighty Miner? No. Okay, is able to get back to the Tesla. Was thinking that he wanted to go in with a Mighty Miner and pop the ability, but the Tesla works as well.
And slowing things down after the Lava Loon. And with 90 seconds left, it's Sub who takes the first swing, and the hammer does connect. 21-34 to 23-12. And Lucas Lava's into the same lane.
Lucas doing a great job of recognizing how to play the matchup, getting as many Lavas down on the board. We're probably going to see a Void, and we do. And the Void not able to take out more of the Tesla, still getting out quite a big chunk of it. And that's going to be able to reach. So Spirit Empress, I mean, yeah, the Empress doing a great job of taking everything out, and Sub going to be struggling quite a bit right here. Going to retarget to the Tesla, so that Loon is going to put in some work. I would love to see Prediction Arrows, not going to see it because of the Mighty Miner on defense. And that's still just a great response from Sub. I mean, he doesn't have the perfect cards to defend everything, but so far doing an absolute incredible job. Void taking out another one of those firecrackers.
This will be good damage here. This will be good damage here from Sub. But now the Lava Hound setting up with decent elixir. And this feels like, Josh, it might be the push that things change on. Inferno Dragon might be in its evolved form for this push. Loon gets behind the lava. That Tesla been on the board for quite a while here, and here we go. Evolved Inferno behind. Mighty Miner goes for its bomb, but with this Void trying to do some clearing and great job protecting, Firecracker stays up. And while this one didn't do all the damage that Lucas wanted, he's going to come out ahead on Elixir.
Yeah, we see Lucas shake his head. It feels like every single one of Lucas's pushes are almost doing what they're supposed to do. It just feels like there's something missing so far, and that's all the fair play in the world to Sub. I mean, the way he's crafting his defenses has been incredible, but this is definitely going to be one of those things. Can he defend it once again properly? Valk plus Loon taken out again. Sub, beautiful defense.
And the Mighty Miner chewing up a lot of those daggers, forces guards to get involved. And now Lucas going 2 lanes. Tesla should be able to get back. Gonna go ahead and defend with the Firecracker. Tesla misses, and that drop suddenly changes things up a little bit.
Going in with a Mighty Miner at the bridge. Empress plus guards, able to take out a lot of the hog, but it might, no, this might just power down. Oh, it is.
Wow.
Lucas cannot stop the hog.
And Lucas, again, taking risks here. right? Going for this Lava Loon deck with the Void and arrows in here, the Spirit Empress, trying based on who makes it to World Finals and how these relationships evolve. But I don't know if you have any insight on that.
I don't have a ton of insight so far this year. That's definitely something that I need to look into. And next month, I'm telling you, ask me it again. I'll have a brilliant answer for you. So here we are, game number 3. Ice Spirit plus Rage coming out from Sub. Lucas on the other side of it, running the Bomber plus Fire Spirit plus Snowball. We saw him use a deck that had similar components where he got that beautiful Evo Snowball in the previous set earlier today. Not using the Evo Bomber this time though, selecting to go a different route. So it's looking like we're going to see Hog go against RG, one of the more famous matchups at this point. Definitely seeing, even with a best of 5, we're still seeing a lot of the same decks that we had been seeing earlier today. Beautiful activated ability. Almost pushes the Monk so far behind that the RG was going to go in front. Not going to be the case though. And the RG, with the help of the Goblins, does force out the Evo Snowball. So still a great push for Sub, and he's going to have a 3.5 elixir advantage. Evo RG in cycle. Lucas in a world of hurt after what started out as a good defense, but Sub was just too strong with it.
We'll see what Lucas does to work his way out of this one. And not in a serious hole elixir-wise, but certainly a small one. Decides to poison off the Hunter. And that Ice Spirit will just feed that poison.
Beautiful value right there. And Lucas takes the lead with the help of the poison spell. Bomber up top to try and take out as much of the Monk as possible. And that Snowball, I think it got corrected in its path because of the ability from the Monk. Sometimes I can never tell them.
Slowdown play from the Snowball does create some knockback. Lucas able to hold at the bridge, but now finds himself in a growing elixir hole behind by almost 4 ticks against Sub as we move closer to sudden death.
I had been wondering if Sub was getting a little too aggressive with his pressure in ways where even if he was getting an elixir advantage, it never felt like he really had an opportunity to make it past the Teslas. But I think it was really just waiting for double elixir, trying to set himself up for double or triple elixir. And now this is really where it starts to get scary for Lucas. It's going to require beautiful defense, and Sub already has another RG. This time it's going to be the Evo RG, so Lucas struggling for this defense.
And it uses the Evo Snowball to give himself some room and a bit of a reset. Time to get back to a Tesla, and he does. The Evo Tesla with its stun. And that was just a beautiful defense out of Lucas. And knowing that as he was setting up and had a Evo RG coming, made sure he had that Evo Snowball ready to give him that breathing room.
Skeletons at the bridge to make sure that the Hunter stays within the range. And the Rage coming out. It's going to force the Mighty Miner off of the RG. The Monk pushing it back. But again, Lucas, perfection on his defense. But still, it feels like every single time it's been perfect from Lucas, and yet Sub still has the lead.
And the Bomber trying to clear some room, and just like that, Lucas opens it up. 1898 on the right-hand side. And you know, one thing, Josh, when you look at at Sub's deck, as these drills become more frequent, he does have some potential challenges with defense. Hunter can do some work against it, guards can do some work, but doesn't have a small spell to clear, and this Royal Giant's going to do a ton of damage. Tesla late, has a Snowball to move it all back, so the lead moves right back. I'm surprised he's going offense on the drill. I thought that drill should have been defensive here out of Lucas.
Yeah, you have to give yourself an opportunity. I understand the thought process for Lucas, but it comes down to your 0.3 elixir away from getting the Tesla down.
Bridge spam still available. He has poison. So very curious if Sub, and he decides to go with Skeleton Barrel, the Evo diversion.
It's going to be interesting to see what Lucas's deck is, because when I see Goblin Hut, I think of Goblin Hut Poison. Sub on the other side, that is going to be a little too early, I believe, with the Goblin spell. And yeah, no Goblins are really going to spawn out from that. Lucas, so far, running a Little Prince, plus the Wall Breakers, plus the Miner. Okay, I can absolutely live with a Miner deck for game number 4 if I'm a fan of Lucas.
Well, let's see if he can make it work. Similar notes on both sides. So no surprises here that Lucas running Log in this game. You know, a lot of the options he would have faced, Log would have been nice against. One of the small spells he had left. And the Evo Skeleton Barrel pushing on the left-hand side.
So both of them are going to pop on top of the tower, get in the tower, 600 HP worth of damage, a lot to take. Sub going to be able to respond with a zap of his own, but misses a couple of the skellies. Not going to matter too much, but it is going to allow the Little Prince to get a little bit of value. And this actually ended up mattering quite a bit more than I expected.
Kind of a lot of value, actually, and the lead to Lucas, 1864 on that left-hand lane as he pressures one more time with his Skeleton Barrel.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful interaction right there. You
Wow.
can get the Spear Goblin to target that. And the Golden Knight, it always feels like it takes everything out immediately, but the Skeletons are still going to stack up just a little bit and gets the tower down to 1557.
High Spirit Berserker to cover against the Miner, and now in game number 4, as we enter the final 30 seconds of regulation play, Lucas with an early high rocket on all of that. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a prediction or what exactly it was. It was a pretty solid value, though. And Sub, this is going to be tough to get past it. You have the zap, you have the Goblin Curse, but you don't really have anything to take out these Goblin Huts. I'm going to see how he wants to adjust as this game goes on.
You know, another thing about the rocket situation for Sub to contend with is he really has to play this in, like, everything. It's hard playing everything high on this left-hand side, right? There is going to be no real building any pushes. He can't cycle the cannon cart in the back pretty much ever, right? Otherwise, he'll end up off his wheels, giving a ton of damage. So it does force the fight to take place closer to the bridge.
And right here,
Cannon cart connects. Oh my word! Oh wow! And has to do a little fanciness to recover from that, does Lucas, but suddenly, and the Golden Knight connects as well. Lucas has to log, and suddenly, Sub has turned a disadvantage into a potential steal and a second finals appearance here in a monthly.
Oh, and if he gets the ability off, that could be game. It is Sub! He's gonna do it, loses game number 1, game 2, game 3, game 4, wins them all. Sub with the 3-1 set victory going against Lucas and smiling, cheesing hard.
Have Lightning and Fireball, two very different directions, things that would kind of force his opponent into maybe some coin flip territory, not to mention having EQ still available for Lucas. So both of these guys, you can see how they were game planning for the possibility of a 5-game set of going to
that way, but he is going to
Mohamed Light, both locked in, and as you can see on screen here, we mentioned beforehand, Mohamed Light winning the golden ticket. Since Sub already has a silver ticket, the silver ticket from this event will drop down to Lucas, who is now guaranteed a spot in the Lost Chance qualifier if he does not qualify for World Finals by some other method. So we'll definitely be seeing Lucas